Yes, happy to be getting started. If you would like to participate in the live stream chat and have access to exclusive trainings that I have in the members only, please join the Million Dollar Babes VIP by clicking the join button. It doesn't work on like every like phone or device or things like that. So if you can't see that, try a different device, and sometimes it works through that. So first of all, I want to start by thanking you for all of the lovely comments and the DMs and the private messages regarding episode 1. I had no idea that so many of you would resonate with the topic of episode 1. We were talking about how a lot of times with the sisterhood wound, women that aren't self-aware, they're not conscious, they mask their jealousy, their envy, their lack of permission in their own life by sending you unsolicited advice. And this can really start getting in women's heads because this is a very deep, like ancient wounding for women. And I had huge YouTubers, content creators, people that I didn't even know were listening to me and following my work, reach out to me privately saying, I experienced this. This happens to me. Thank you for speaking up on this. And this was really, really potent because there's a part of me that was feeling like, should I really have said that? You know, these are like first world problems. These are privileged problems because most people don't even have an audience. They want an audience. And I'm here talking about like negative feedback. But what happened was women that have large audiences, have really big influence on the planet, that feel unseen, that feel like they can't talk about this stuff with anyone else, suddenly felt seen by me sharing my honest truth. What was particularly disturbing from the messages that I received was when those of you guys that sent me screenshots of some of the messages that you received, I had chills. I was a little bit freaked out because of the similarity of the messages. When you guys sent me screenshots, it was really shocking to see that the format of this feedback that your subscribers are sending you is so similar to what I'm getting and so similar from all the other YouTubers and like content creators. It's almost like it was the same person. It wasn't, but it was almost like it was. It's almost like they're following a template, which is like super creepy and weird. So just thought I would mention that. So today what we're talking about is a little bit deeper. We're going a little bit deeper. And the first thing I want to introduce you to, hi Shazad, that conversation was exactly what we needed. Thank you, babe. I'm so happy to have you here on this live joining us. So we're gonna like just jump into the deep stuff. In relational and like in like therapeutic frameworks, it has been known for a really, really long time, for decades, that the place for the deepest healing to happen is very similar to where the original trauma happened. And this is really important for when it comes to everything you're experiencing in your life and in your business and in making money, and why you might not be making the money you know you could be making, even though you're happy with what you're making. So for example of this is the reason that romantic relationships trigger us so much. Like so much stuff comes up in marriage and in like family units that we create is because the original wounding that happened for a lot of us happened in our birth families. And so in therapeutic models of healing, the reason that romantic relationships turning on. Okay. So in therapeutic models of healing, they say that the reason that you can really heal yourself and your partner in marriage is because it's the closest representation that you and your partner are ever going to have to where the original trauma occurred. So for example, if you had an abandonment wound because of your mom or dad in your childhood, then that can't necessarily heal in like a teacher setting or even in therapy. In fact, some of my professors that were like actual like therapists said that even in their practice, what would take 5 years, 10 years to heal, one conversation with your husband can heal that thing. That's how powerful it was. And I remember asking some of my professors, why is that? And they said it's because in your body, in your subconscious, the original trauma occurred in a family unit. And like in a marriage, you're back in the family unit. And so it like that's going to be way more potent. And not that therapy doesn't work. Obviously, these were therapists that were telling me this, but it's because you recreating that dynamic somatically and subconsciously in a very tactile way in your marriage is going to heal it faster and better and more potently. It's going to register deeper than something in therapy. Why am I talking about this when it comes to sisterhood wound? A lot of us had sisterhood wounds that actually started as motherhood wounds and sisterhood wounds in childhood. This happened with our mom. This may have happened with our own sister. This may have happened with aunts and cousins. It might have happened with our early friends in school. And so what happens is we keep trying to play that out as we get older, hoping that we are able to heal. But as we get older, and especially those of us that are really high achieving, we're driven, we're ambitious, we're creating big things, we learn that let's not mess with women. Let's like women are trouble because we have that wounding from childhood. And what we end up doing is we distance ourselves from women. Even though we have to deal with women, even though we work with women, a lot of our businesses, our clients are women. We keep this like emotional distance. Let me know in the chat. Throw me a thumbs up or a heart if you are unable to comment. But let me know if you have subconsciously been doing that. Now that I'm making you aware that you don't really fully show up. This is when we say things like move in silence, right? Like these are the things that we say. Or like, you outgrow your friends. And we think all of that is happening in like, we're just upgraded now, we're leveling up and we're outgrowing people. But the thing is that the wounding that needs to heal for us to unlock the next level can't heal. So it keeps trying to show up, hoping that you and this other person, you and this other woman heals each other. But if you keep distancing and isolating, it's not going to heal. So this was what was happening with me. I had so much sisterhood wounding in my life. And so I grew up thinking, okay, just mind your own business, just stay away from women, like keep everyone at arm's length. And in fact, I would want to help people. And even with my other YouTube channel, I have like a very interesting story to tell you guys. So when I had 10,000 subscribers on the other channel, and I was really in a lot of like these YouTube communities. They were like Facebook groups and little communities. And a lot of the other women in the group were very new YouTubers. They didn't have any following, like maybe 5 subscribers, 10 subscribers, and I had 10,000. So like I was like the big like person in that group as far as subscribers. So we started doing collabs together, even though at that time, no one, like the world of YouTube was just different. No one with 10,000 subscribers would even speak to anyone with like no subscribers. Okay. It was a whole world. And they were shocked that I was going to like do these collaborations with them to help them grow. And so I started doing these collaborations and these channels started growing. And then they started starting businesses and they were asking me questions and I was like coaching them for free. I wasn't like a licensed coach yet, or like I didn't have like the certifications and everything. I was just giving them free coaching, just helping them out with everything I knew. Well, all of a sudden, because of the traction that I was able to like throw at them, like if a bigger YouTuber does that for you, like you will blow up. And those channels blew up. And then the first thing they did is ditch me. And I felt so hurt. And I was like, oh no, because to me, it was just like, they're my friends. And I felt like they just took me and this like threw me out. And I like just distanced myself, kept creating content. And every so often I would like email one of them or like people that I was giving free coaching to. And it was really interesting is that they would respond back to me with exactly the things that I had taught them to like set boundaries with people that they didn't want to work with or they didn't want to collab with. But now they forgot that I told them how to do that in a very graceful way. Some of them would not respond, but the ones that I had really helped, they were like using what I had taught them like against me basically. And so it's like, okay, I get the memo. So I just distanced myself. And even despite that, my consciousness, I was talking about self-concept and kainat, it kept pulling me towards women. And when I met Shirzad, when I saw her being bashed on the internet, I shared that story with you guys of how I even found her. Even though I was just coming out of that wounding, something made me go and join Shirzad's free group at the time. Something made me reach out to Shirzad. And when I look back, I'm like, Mina, you had just come out of this like big thing with women. And yet there was a part of you that still was like moving towards her. And what happened between me and Shirzad that was different with all of the other like women that my heart would be pulled towards? Because remember, our psyche is always pushing us through healing. It wants us to heal so we can unlock the next level and then unlock the next level. And what it takes is two conscious people willing to heal each other. And what would happen is that I would be moved towards someone, and instead of us healing each other, we just wound each other more. And then the next one wound each other more. And then the next one wound each other more. What happened with me and Shirzad is I moved towards her. I messaged her. She responded back. We started talking. We became friends. We actually took the time to heal each other. And this is really important because I know a lot of women, I see this all the time. They are being called into sisterhood. They're being called into leadership. They're being called into this deeper healing, like your subconscious, your psyche, everything in you wants to heal. And yet you think that you need to like stay in isolation and maybe heal first. But the original wound happened in sisterhood. And so the healing must happen in sisterhood. So this is something that has been such a life-changing thing for me, is that like allowing myself to be attracted towards the thing that my psyche is moving me towards, and then finding those places of healing. So now that Shahzad and I have like for the last 8 years, we've been collaborating together, joining our forces, there's like a compounded healing happening for women. Because even though they don't realize this, the original wound happened in sisterhood. Now the healing is happening in sisterhood. So my call to you is realizing that when you're being, you say things like female friends, you say like, I want to be in the queen's table, I want to be in the masterminds, I want to be in the places, but then you show up and you get triggered, that's a good thing. The comparison, the putting people on a pedestal, the mistrust, the getting re-triggered, all of that is showing you that this is the place to heal. I have another quick story of several things that have happened. Even recently, this has come up where women will show up in my like close proximity containers talking about how they need to learn boundaries. And then they will do something really interesting, not consciously. They will not do this consciously. So I'm not blaming anyone. They'll come in saying they need to do boundary work in their business. And then without realizing it, a day later, a week later, a month later, 3 months later, they will break my boundary. Now, if I hadn't done all of this deep healing work, if I wasn't, hadn't done all this leadership work, all of this inner work, that would have triggered me. But what it gives me a chance to do is say, hello, beautiful, as per blah, 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 this is what we agreed on. And you're not going to believe the response that I get. It's not like, oh my God, Mina is evil, or oh my God, I can't believe she said this. Every single time this has happened recently, they've messaged back saying, oh my God, thank you so much for mirroring back to me what healthy boundaries look like. I needed that so badly. I needed to learn that lesson. So this is what we do a lot of times, not realizing it, is that the thing that we need to heal will show up. Now, a conscious way of doing this would have been, hey, Mina, can you help me set a boundary when a client does this and this and this, or when the client asks for something that's not a part of the contract, or whatever the thing is. Sometimes we don't have that self-awareness though, because the wounding is deep. So what we do is we will create the trigger and then hope that the leader on the other side will mirror back to us how to do this helpfully. In fact, in a couple scenarios, even after this happened, they continued to do it a couple more times. And every single time said, thank you so much. Oh my God, this helps me so much. Now I know how to deal with this when this happens to me. Because their psyche was trying to heal, seeing what that looks like in the presence of someone that can hold themselves. But let's be honest, how many of you guys would have been like freaked out? Been like, oh my God, someone's breaking my boundaries. I'm going to end this container. I'm going to burn it all down. You would have made it about your worth versus about like, oh, wow, I am a safe space for people to heal. Shazad said, oh my God, thank goodness for our intuition that wanted to heal and came together. Yes. Wherever the original wound happened, that's the same scenario it will try to recreate. They received the medicine that they came there for. Yes. And Kristen said, my husband has a colleague whose wife has a sisterhood wound, prides herself on not having any female friends. I've been hesitant to go out with them. So Christian, the fact that you achieve and manifested you with all the deep healing work you've done and you continue to do, like this is her psyche coming together to want to heal. And then your part of like, you're like, oh my God, she has a sisterhood wound, I'll just keep her distance. What if, you don't have to do this, but what if you actually showed up in your power without needing to change her mind, without needing to fix her, without needing to upgrade her, your presence and your embodiment is exactly the healing that she needs if she decides to choose it. And so the message here for you is this invitation to not isolate yourself. I had this huge thing that I'm going to be successful and as long as I've got my blinders on and I just keep away the drama until I became a woman that was like the leadership, the embodiment, the role model of how not to do it, even when other people weren't acting right. My embodiment doesn't require everyone to act right? Like my embodiment isn't, as long as there's no full moon, definitely no Mercury retrograde, all the stars are aligned, and everyone is acting right, and everyone put all the things in the right place, and then I'm embodied. Because true embodiment, what is leadership? It's I'm going to remain in my leadership regardless of what's happening around me. Exactly. Or be so annoyed and shut down instead of teaching them exactly what they need. Yes. Like being the example. And hats off to these women that they also received it. They were like, oh, wow. Oh my goodness. What? This is an option. I could do this too. Yes. And with love. And this doesn't shift my energy towards you. It's not like I suddenly don't love you. I love you just the same. And here's the boundary. Boundaries are invitations. They're keys to how you can have a deeper, richer experience. How can you unlock my heart even more? They're not like, get the hell out of here, garlic and crosses. And so this is something we need to heal as a collective because men have been doing business for eons. They've been doing money for eons. They've been doing contracts and business for eons, and good for them. I celebrate men everywhere. Amazing. We're new to the game. We're new to the game. And because we're new to the game, we don't have that DNA history. We have actually quite the opposite history. Our evolutionary history actually does not even go with what we're trying to create. We're evolving that history. We think that all we need to do is either become a man, which we can't become because we're not, or we just need to isolate ourselves from anything that triggers anything in us. But what if it's through the trigger, it's through the healing, in exactly the place that it happened, in sisterhood? It's putting ourselves back in those containers, trusting that this is part of the healing. It's not something I have to protect myself from. It's not something I have to shut down. How successful can you really be if every little thing just triggers you and you have to just maneuver around it? How successful can you really be? There's always going to be a cap. Because you're like, okay, I was really being successful here, except now someone's breaking my boundary. Let me go here, except now someone's doing this. Now let me go here. It's like you're always burning shit down and starting all over again. Versus, okay, that's the next level of healing. I'm going to go through this. That's the next level of thing that I need to work through. I'm going to go through this. And so triggers will come up. Thank God, because you will keep growing. You will keep evolving. And so you putting yourself in the places that you think, oh my God, not this. I'm not ready for this. I'm not worthy for this. This is going to trigger me. This is going to slow me down. It's like, what if that's exactly the wormhole that I need to take? That's exactly the thing I need to be doing. And if you know that's exactly what your psyche, your psychology, your body, your energetics is craving, not just like coaching, but repatterning crown to crown. So as you guys know, my friend and I, Shirzad and I, she's here in the chat right now. We have decided for the first time to launch a paid collaboration. We've done a lot of stuff for free over the years, but this is our first 6-week immersion that we're leading together. And in this space, think of it as this cosmic collective evolution and repatterning for all of the sisterhood wound and all of the motherhood shit and all of the playing small and all of the witch wound and all of the visibility stuff that we've ever experienced. Why? More money, more wealth, more evolution, more growth, more, because that's what we're here to do for all women. Because every woman that heals 7 generations forward and 7 generations back, and not just in her own lineage, for all humanity, because we need this healing right now. Become a man, isolate ourselves, or bring other women down. Exactly. We go back to that wounding of like gossip, reputation assassination. It's like, aren't you guys bored of that now? Like, who else is like massively like, I'm over it? That doesn't even excite me anymore. What if it's exactly the wormhole that I need to take? Thank you so much for the link, gorgeous. Shirzad's got the link in the description box, and I also have it in I'll put it to the comments. Or you can comment the word crown and a team member will reply to you with exactly the details and the link and everything. Okay, so let's shift to the second thing that I want to talk about. One other thing that's been like a huge healing for both Shirzad and I, and this is something that we lead our clients to, and we've seen a lot in Sisterhood, is without realizing it, all of us are magnetically attracted to the person that we are most in resonance with. Hey, let me know in the comments if you've experienced this. Oh, like, I don't know, there's something about her, like she's my person. She's like I really resonate with her. I really just want to listen to her all day. I want to be with her. The reason that this happens is a lot of times it's an energetic but nervous system thing, because our nervous system is this field of frequency. It's like this holographic 360-degree field around us. And it creates our self-concept. It dictates our decisions. It dictates like who we're resonating with, who we're shying away with, what we're moving towards, what we're moving away from. So what happens is when you have a certain resonance field in your hologram, you're attracted to others that have a similar one or a complete opposite. There's polarity, but typically like coaches and mentors, we're going to be attracted towards the one that's more similar in some ways. So for example, I have a very like fast-paced, driven, direct, say it like it is, fiery, savage energy. That's just like my frequency and who I am. Like people already know, if you don't want the truth, do not ask Mina, because like I'm a projector. I'm gonna like my love is I'm gonna tell you the truth. Other people's love, it might be like, I'm gonna like just tell you what you need to hear. And that's sometimes you need that. That's not me. I don't know how to do that. I tried, trust me, it's not my thing. I'm just gonna tell you the truth, even if you get mad, because that's just how I love. So the people that are generally attracted towards me have that fiery like resonance with me, right? Like they're like, yes, that's it. Like they like that. They like my directness. They like my savage. Like let me know if that's what you attracted you to me. The interesting thing is I would only work with coaches and mentors that had the same fire, even if they hadn't done their inner work to my level. So I have a couple examples of this where I was attracted to like really that like dominant fiery energy, not realizing that I was attracted to their nervous system resonance, but they hadn't done their inner work. And so when I showed up in their containers, instead of receiving the medicine that I needed from them, there was a lot of like, they were triggered by me. I was triggered by them. It was just like, not good. And then there were these other coaches that I would see. An example of this is Shirzad. Like she has an opposite system of mine. And I was very much like attracted towards her work, but distancing myself. I had all of these stories in my head. Shirzad knows this. I had these stories of like, she's so sweet. Is she gonna make me sweet? Is she gonna like make me lose my edge? Am I gonna have to like not be savage if I'm gonna like take her courses? But something in me was like, so I signed up for her stuff. And it was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable. And it changed my life. And it changed my life. And what happens is people like me who are very fiery direct, we attract clients that are very fiery and direct. And I love working with those women. I love like leading those women. There's a resonance, like it's like, yes, it's like best friend feeling. However, if you really zoom out and think about it, who needs my work most? People that already have the fire, who already are direct, or people that they're super sweet, super kind, super empathetic, and sometimes they like lose their power. When they need to be savage, they're kind. When they need to be direct, they're like not direct. Who has put down the very thing that I bring to the table? Those people. But they're not going to like me. They're going to feel very uncomfortable in my presence. They might be like, somewhat like, I'm just going to peek. Oh no, she's being too direct. No, no, no. I can't. Oh my God. No, no, no. Because it's uncomfortable. And so the reason that Shirzad and I collaborating together has been magic is that the people that are attracted to Shirzad are very empathetic. They're very open-hearted. They're very grounded. They've got this like super like just kind, open, empathetic vibe. And sometimes what they need is a little bit of savage. What they need is a little bit of like, no, we're not doing this, right? But they're gonna be like turned off. But then when Shirzad shows up and she's like, hey, Mina's my friend, and they're like, okay, well, if Shirzad's friend, maybe I'll give her a try. Something magical happens. The thing that they have disowned, they start activating it. And when my women are like fiery, direct and stuff, she's like, they hear me talking about Shirzad and they're like, I'm gonna go peek over. Like, is she too grounded? Is she too kind? Is she gonna take our edge away? It's like, oh no, she's actually just gonna ground our frantic energy sometimes. She's gonna open our heart even more so that we're not like the savage people that like actually trigger people. We're the savage people that activate someone's truth. Is this resonating with you guys? Shazad, that exactly the way I would feel uncomfortable in Mina's container, and I expanded the most. They give their power away and they become resentful earth energy. Yeah, so Shazad is very earth energy and she attracts clients that are very earth energy. Of course, it's resonance. I'm very fire energy and I attract clients that are very fire energy. But sometimes the fire needs a little bit of the earth. And sometimes the earth needs a little bit of the fire. Wholeness, right? We're all reaching and moving towards wholeness. And so the magic here is the co-creation that Shirzad and I are creating in Crown to Crown is that you can come saying, okay, I feel comfortable with Mina. And then you get the earth energy of Shirzad. And you can come in saying, okay, I'm just coming for Shirzad. I'm not even gonna, I don't know if I want that kind of directness. And then you hear something, you feel something, you're like, oh, I needed some of that fire. I needed some of that directness. I needed some of that like owning that part of me that's just like, yes, like that fire, right? So this container is so much more powerful because we do bring these not opposing, but these like different energies, which actually, as the divine feminine is a collection of different flavors, we all should have all of that anyways. We're reaching wholeness. And so you get both of it. So what's happened in our friendship in the last 8 years is, for me, my fire has become more fiery being grounded. My directness has become more direct with an open heart. So it's like it lands even deeper. For Shirzad, her grounded, earthly, open heart energy, her emotional intelligence has that fire in it now, right? She can do it with that like little bit of the zing, that activation. She can be direct and say like exactly what she means without feeling like, oh my God, am I losing my empathy, right? So together, we've brought wholeness out of each other. So she didn't put out my fire. She ignited it even more. She fueled it even more because now it's rooted in love, right? I didn't take her grounded, earthly like presence away. Now it's like, it's more trustable. To be honest, it's more trustable. Let me give you guys, this is vulnerable. I've already discussed this with Shirzad, so she knows this many years ago. I had this like belief that like I would go to Shirzad when I needed like comfort, but if I like needed someone to like set me straight or like activate me, I had this limiting belief. I would think, oh, I can't ask Shirzad this because my belief was that she's not going to tell me the truth. She'll just tell me what I need to hear. And I remember going to her once and asking her something. And she told me the most brutal, honest truth. And I was like, yes. And in that moment, I remember saying, I trust her like 1,000% more now. Because there's just this activation, right? If someone is always like just telling you something kind, and even if it's true, let's say that all the kind stuff was all true, but there's a part of me that's like, can I really trust this? It's like all good. I can't be that amazing all the time, right? But that one time where she was like, babe, she was like, no, 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 right? Like she told me the truth. She validated all the other times where she was also telling me the truth, but in the back of my mind, I was like, is she just being nice? Is she just kind? Or is that really the truth? So when we're really activated in all of us, we actually become more of what we were. So her grounded energy, her heart became even more, for me, more trustworthy when the fire was also there. I'm like a strawberry with cayenne pepper on top. Yes. I love it. I love it. That's the feminine range. That is so attractive. So what I'm seeing in the industry right now is that we're all collectively just like clutching on to the thing that we're most comfortable with, right? If we're deep feelers, we're just going to clutch on to that. If we're big dreamers, we're just going to clutch on to that. If we're fiery, then we're just fiery all the time. But that act is getting boring. Or you can't be a one-hit wonder, like a one-hit pony, like, right? One trick pony. The divine feminine is about integrating all of the different flavors. We don't just want activating coaches that are just like bringing one energy. Let me give you an example of this. So actually, even in today's Kainat, I have my mentorship group, like close proximity 1 year container, and I was doing hot seat coaching inside of it. And so one woman comes and she needs that like fire from me. She needs that activation. Well, someone else showed up just after having a miscarriage. Imagine if I'm a one-trick pony and all I have is fire and activation. That's all I've got. I've been in containers where that has happened, where I signed up with the coach because she had the fire activation energy, but that's all she had. So if someone's bringing grief, she can't hold it because you can't hold grief with a fire activation. That requires a whole different essence and holding and depth. And so I think that a lot of us, not realizing it, we are limiting the people that we can work with, what we can hold when it comes to finances and love and parenting and our sexuality and wealth and all the things, sales. We're limiting it because we are a one-trick pony when it comes to our nervous system. We can only do one thing. It's like, I've got an activation for you. Do not bring me anything else. And really, if you think about it, how far can you go? Because let me tell you, wealth requires you to have all the energies, all of it. Love requires you to have all the energies. You're going to be very limited if you've only got one. Actually, I never felt I resonated with collaboration of you both, but maybe this is a sign your course, uh, but maybe this is a sign your course is for me. I think she's saying yes. So I know why. I know exactly why, because, and that's why I'm breaking the kind of like that wall over here. I'm the same way. If I love someone and I resonate with them because of their fire energy, and suddenly they're doing a collab with someone with earth energy, and I haven't healed through it, of course I'm not going to go in there. My psyche will try to keep me away from that because that's the thing I've repressed in myself, which means my emotional firefighters have been making sure for decades that I don't release that part of me, whatever's the story that maybe the story that they have is that if I bring my earth energy, people will take advantage of me. So it's been repressing that. Of course, I'm not going to buy that thing. We want to just buy the inner work that we don't need anymore. That's what we do. So for example, someone was recently telling me that they needed strategy and they kept buying energetics courses and coaches. But that's the thing they had nailed, but that's the thing they were comfortable with. They didn't want to go outside their comfort zone. They didn't want to do the thing that was uncomfortable. Of course, I get it. But what if you decide that as the next level of feminine leadership, you live on the edge, you play on the edge? And this is not easy. I continuously put myself in rooms that are the most uncomfortable for me. And then I'm like, Mina, what the hell's wrong with you? Why are you doing this again? And it's so uncomfortable. And then I come out on the other end and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like more open, more free, more wild, more untamed. And I can now suddenly hold more love, more money, more clients, more depth, more wealth, more all the things. Because that's the thing that I had disowned. That's why I was uncomfortable. And so even though I was magnetically attracted towards Shirzad and her work, I'll be honest, I had the most resistance to it. I had all kinds of stories. I mean, we laugh about it now, but there was so much stuff. Everything in my psyche that had disowned the kindness, the open heart, the earth, like all that stuff was protecting myself. That was like, no, she can't bring me close to that. She's trying to basically, her energy is trying to touch on my deepest wounds. You think I'm going to let her close? I wanted to bubble wrap myself, but at the same time, I'm attracted towards her. There's something familiar about her, but it's like, stay away from me. Don't touch me too close. Don't bring up any of the wounding. But when I allowed her to unbubble wrap me, it was like, oh, shoot, I needed exactly that. Now I'm more savage. People feel more love. So I didn't lose anything. I amplified everything that I already had because the part of my psyche that was holding down the things that I had repressed, that Shirzad was mirroring back to me, now it's unleashed. I'm more of me. It's you get to be so much more. Shirzad said, I have so many stories about how Mina was my medicine, how she healed the part of me that was so scared of my savage side, that was so needed to succeed and grow my business. We all have them. And Shirzad, coming from the culture that you're coming from, your background, like you're, of course you had suppressed that. You're not allowed to like speak up. You're not allowed to be savage. And then I show up, like, we can only be savage. It's like, wait a minute. So do you see that the part that I had disowned, Shirzad had? The part Shirzad had disowned, I had. And so together we activated the other missing part, and then we became, both of us became more of us. So of course now we can hold all types of clients. Instead of only being able to say, okay, these are my ideal clients because they've got a similar nervous system to me. It's like, oh, okay, this client is not similar nervous system to me, but I've got a code for them. I've got something for them that I know they have disowned. And by the end of this time together, they're going to be on fire. They're going to be on fire. They're going to be turned on, tuned in, activated, fiery energy. And then their other side also gets amplified. And I didn't want to be fiery and make other people think I am mean. These are the internal stories. Her story was she's going to be mean if she has the fire. Mine was if I'm too grounded and earthy, I'm going to get taken advantage of again. So I suppressed all of that and used that fire against myself, which burned me down. Are you guys receiving what we're putting down here? This is the stuff in the background of your psyche, ruining your business, ruining your sales. This is when we are now making pleasure money. When we're like, wow, every single thing we do, it's feeling good in my body. There's no part of me I'm repressing. I'm activating and amplifying more and more parts of me. And now business becomes this like healing ground, this medicine. And now suddenly we're able to bring even more of our medicine and be divinely compensated for it. Here's the next thing I want to tell you guys. One of the biggest lessons that I have learned in my life, making 8 figures in my business, having a net worth of 8 figures, like really being able to not just create the wealth, but hold the wealth, is that God pays more when it's for the highest good of all. This has been just the biggest like healing of my life. And it's not that I said, okay, God pays more for like healing the planet, so let me heal the planet. It was that part activated in me. It activates naturally for all women when we're out of survival. When we're in survival, we're just thinking about ourselves. When we're out of survival, we naturally, as women, start thinking about those around us. And then it's like the circle grows. We think about our family, then we think about, the community, then we think about our city, and then our country and causes and the planet. And what I've realized is that women aren't doing business to get out of survival. We think that what we're doing. I think that's the golden carrot that God often dangles in front of our face to bring us in. But the reason that we're doing business is healing the planet. There's a lot of wounding collectively for women that need to heal in exactly this way. Through business, through holding money, through having boundaries, through being compensated for our medicine. Oh my God, so many of us are afraid of this. Being seen in this way, seeing other people from all different cultures, holding space in that way. And so when you realize that what you're doing isn't just for you, that it's really for the planet, the paycheck that God will cut you then is just bigger because now you're activating barakat, you're activating divine compounding, you're activating the currency of the angels. And so what happens in that point, and I don't want you to do it because of that, and I know you won't, but what I want you to realize is that stop putting the focus on you being seen. Can I do this? Like stop putting the spotlight on yourself and realize that through your courage, through your bravery, through you showing up in the way that you're showing up every single day, I know how hard it is to show up. I know what it takes for women to be seen just by one person. Imagine by thousands of people on the internet, tens of thousands of people, millions of people. It takes a lot. And that's you doing something for the highest good of all. And you might not think that the paycheck is there yet or in the terms that in the amount that you know you're capable, but I promise you when the divine compounding steps in, it's going to be more than what you could have ever imagined. And there needs to be certain activation, certain healing, certain things, because God cannot give you something you cannot hold, whether that's pain or pleasure. And so your nervous system, your vessel, needs to upgrade through different portals and different wormholes and different inner works, different paths. And the collective sisterhood wound is a huge one for women. So instead of hiding from it, put yourself in the spaces where you will be healing in an accelerated way, because on the other end of that is the pot of gold that you know you deserve. That's where the impact is. That's where the income is. That's where the pleasure is. That's where the legacy is. It's on the other end of your healing. This is 8 years of 2 women who have exponentially grown, poured into one immersion. Yes, 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 exactly. Oh my God, only if you all knew the portal and the wormhole you're about to go through in crown to crown. Highest good of all has been our compass for this immersion, for sure, 1000%. And we're so excited to have you guys in there. The price is going to be going up once again. Because this is the first time we're doing this, we wanted to make this just a super, super yes, yes, yes kind of energy. And knowing that this is the value that we're putting in there, the medicine, the healing, it's like worth so much more. And we get to be divinely compensated, all of us, for our medicine. We also want to set a good example that we always charge our worth. And so we gave it at a certain price And now it's going to be going up again. So if you know you're meant to be in there, I would lock in the price at this point. All right, babes, thank you so much for showing up and being live here. Any other questions or comments coming up for you? Christian said 100%. That's why I continue tuning in. I'm so glad this resonated with you guys. And if you're watching the replay, I would love to hear back from you in the comments as well. If you would like the link for Crown to Crown or more information, just comment Crown and me, Shirzad, or one of our team members will get back to you. I know there's a lag, so I'll stay for a couple seconds more and then we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'll be back soon for episode 3 as well. This was great. Thank you both. Thank you, Christian. I appreciate you. Amazing. All right, gorgeous. Thank you, everyone. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.